We're delighted to have amidst us our distinguished alumnus and President of Carnegie Mellon University, Professor Subra Suresh, as chief guest today. To begin, I now invite Soumya to render the invocation.
निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा शक्तिसहित गणपतिं शङ्करातिसेवितं शक्तिसहित गणपतिं शङ्करातिसेवितं विरक्त सकल मुनिवरसुरराजविनुत गुरुगुहं विरक्त सकल मुनिवरसुर राजविनुत गुरुगुहं भक्त्यादिपोषकं भवसुतं विनायकं भक्त्यादिपोषकं भवसुतं विनायकं भक्तिमुक्तिप्रदभूषिताङ्गं रक्तपदाम्बुज भावयामि भक्तिमुक्तिप्रदभूषिताङ्गं रक्तपदाम्बुज भावयामि शक्तिसहित गणपतिं शङ्करातिसेवितं शङ्करातिसेवितं शङ्करातिसेवितम्.
Thank you, Soumya. A quick reminder, your families can head over to the Central Lecture Theatre for some fun and games that we've planned if they choose to. And now, without further ado, let's begin the program with some remarks by Professor Nagarajan, Dean International and Alumni Relations.
Good morning. Welcome all. I want to welcome everyone to this Alumni Day function. Special welcome, of course, to the 2013 graduates. We are expecting about 200 of them. I'm sure they will show up eventually. I'm sure they're still tired from all the celebrations last night after getting their degree. Today is it's a special day because we welcome our 2013 graduates into the alumni fold. But it's also a day when we invite other alumni to make special announcements, to reminisce, and to share their experiences with us. So we have today representatives from the 1987 batch of alumni that had their silver reunion last year, and the 1988 batch who are going to have their silver reunion this year. We also have with us several people from the 1977 batch. And in fact, there's a very special connection today to the 77 batch. I'm sure you know that our chief guest for convocation yesterday, Dr. Subra Suresh, is a 1977 batch alumnus. Also, this function is being webcast all over the globe by Chennai Online, which of course is headed by Ravichandran, who is also a 77 alumnus. And at the end of the program today, we are going to inaugurate the air conditioning of our classroom complex. And this is a project that has been funded by the 1977 batch. So I want to especially welcome the representatives of the 77 batch who are here, and this will be a special day for them as well. So we have a pretty full program today, and we'll try to keep things moving along. One of our distinguished alumni awardees of 2013, Dr. Sailesh Rao, is here to receive this award. As you know, these awards are traditionally given on Institute Day, but this year, for various reasons, only 4 out of 8 awardees were actually able to attend and pick up their DA award. But we're very happy that Sailesh, who also happens to be my batchmate, was able to come here today to pick up his award. We also have some special presentations by some of our faculty on some interesting stuff that they have been doing, and I won't spoil the suspense, I'll let them talk about it. We also have a few awards and prizes that are being given on Alumni Day. These are alumni funded prizes. Actually, I don't know if you noticed, but in convocation yesterday, if any of you attended, 99% of the awards that are given on convocation day are now sponsored. almost all of them by alumni. I think there are only 2 left, and certainly I'm going to see if those also can be snapped up by alumni. So, it's clear that alumni are playing a very integral role in the development and functioning of our institute, and I will try to do the best I can to make sure that that continues and solidifies in future. So one of the important steps that has happened in that regard is the formation of a dean's position for international and alumni relations, which happened in October of last year. Next. So the Office of International and Alumni Relations was created by essentially merging 2 offices that were existing at the time. The Office of Alumni Affairs, which I have been involved with since 2009, and the Office of International Relations, which was headed by Professor Krishnan Balasubramanian. We felt that it actually made a lot of sense to integrate the 2 offices and also elevate it to a dean level because of the fact that we really cannot do international relations very effectively without leveraging our alumni base. So many of our alumni live abroad and are so successful and are leaders in their respective fields, whether it be academics or industry or business or enterprises in general. So we felt that by combining the 2 offices, we could really start using our alumni as catalysts in making various engagements happen. So we are now truly making use of our incredible alumni base overseas to establish relations with academia and research labs, with industry, with entrepreneurs. And in all of this, our alumni are playing a very key role. I think all IITs share this common characteristic that our alumni, a large fraction of our alumni live abroad. And while this may be construed as a brain drain, and by the way, it is slowing down to a great extent. Hardly any of us are now going for higher studies. I think it's less than 10% now. But still, the fact that so many of us are in leadership positions around the globe is certainly a big asset to us as we try to upgrade our international relations. So our mission in our Office of International and Alumni Relations is to enhance IIT Madras's global profile and stature. I'm sure you have all heard about the rankings and how we do. And it's certainly a game, really, but it's a game that everyone has to play. I can see another of our DAs here, Mohan. Thanks, Mohan, for coming and laughing knowledgeably. But, so it is something that we do need to focus on. It is a competitive world, and we want to make sure that the quality of IIT Madras is reflected in our rankings by independent organizations. So promoting institute external relations by building on alumni relations, it's really the core of our mission. Raising funds is obviously another key activity that we have undertaken in the past, and we will continue to do that because the financial assistance over and above what we get from the government is absolutely crucial to, again, elevating IIT Madras to a position of global excellence. The government funding really only keeps us running, but it's not going to provide that impetus to launch us into the next stratosphere, so to speak, and that's where alumni support is very important. So we continue to carry out various initiatives to build on alumni relations. Campus meetings like this are very important in this regard. So we have DA Day, and which is the day after Institute Day. Sorry about that. Alumni Day, which is today, day after convocation. And of course, Reunion Day, which happens in December in conjunction with the Silver Union. So last year we had the 87 batch be the leaders on that day, and then this year it will be the 88 batch. We started this leadership lecture series featuring alumni about a year ago, actually a year and a half ago, and it's been extraordinarily successful. We are now averaging virtually 1 lecture a week, and these are extremely well attended by the students, and they are really getting a lot of valuable input from these lectures. Also, they provide an opportunity for the alumni to interact with the students before and after. So they don't just come lecture and leave. We actually ask them to be here for at least half a day and really spend time talking to not only our students, but also the faculty and also some of our younger alumni. Entrepreneurship Forum is something that was created about a year ago. This was actually an outcome of a trip that our director, Professor Bhaskar, and I made to California last year, where we identified several alumni entrepreneurs who were very keen on engaging with our institute to promote entrepreneurial activities. So the first Entrepreneurship Forum was actually formed in the Bay Area, and since then we have also formed one in Chennai, and they're really coordinating very well and working together to provide all means of support to students as well as faculty who are interested in becoming entrepreneurs. Off-campus events, of course, we cannot always expect the alumni to come to us. Occasionally we have to go out and meet with them. So we make sure that we organize, actually the Alumni Association organizes chapter meetings in various cities, and we make sure that we take our director and deans and faculty to these meetings to enable them to interact with alumni during these chapter meetings. So in the past year, we have had meetings in Madras, Bangalore, Bombay, Delhi, and so on. And similarly, visits abroad are very important because many of our alumni who live abroad are not able to visit campus frequently. And it's very important to keep them appraised of the current realities because the longer that alumni stay away from the campus, the more their memories really serve as their impressions of the institute. So they're kind of stuck in the decade where they graduated. So it's very important for us to go out there and keep telling them what is really going on in the institute, and we try to do that. And also we are doing it in a more segmented manner, where we have separate meetings with alumni in academia, alumni in industry, alumni entrepreneurs, alumni donors, and of course the alumni chapter. And this way of very focused interactions and meetings, which again we initiated last year, has proven to be extremely beneficial in bringing better clarity and sharpness to what we are trying to do and achieve in our interactions with the alumni community. The Pan-IIT alumni meetings are of course a forum where we can participate and make our presence known to our alumni as well as alumni of the other IITs. And we usually have a breakout session where our alumni get to meet with representatives from our campus. And also there is an exhibit hall where each IIT has a booth, and we have certainly had an IIT Madras booth in past Pan-IITs. In 2012, there were actually two Pan-IIT meetings. There was a local Pan-IIT meet in Singapore, and then there was the global Pan-IIT meet in Kolkata, and we participated in both. And this year, it's going to be in Houston in December, and again, we plan to have a good presence there. We will have at least 7 to 8 of our faculty there participating in this meeting. We also have something called a faculty alumni network. Our office, once we find out where faculty are going, for example, to attend conferences and so on, we contact local alumni in those areas and put them in touch with the visiting faculty to promote interactions between them. Communications are extremely important, and so given the fact that our alumni now span 6 decades, we really cannot rely upon a single communication mode to effectively reach all of them. So we basically try to do everything. So we do emails, we are on Facebook, we are on LinkedIn, and again, these are things and practices that we share with the Alumni Association. For example, there's a monthly newsletter that the Alumni Association sends out, and we have our contribution in that. In addition, we have our own monthly newsletter where we try to highlight items that are more specific to institute alumni relations as well as institute to institute relations. There is also now a newsletter that's being published by IIT Madras. They actually publish 2 a month, and we make sure that we also communicate that to all of our alumni. I think if anything, now there is almost an information overload. So we have gone from a situation where alumni used to complain that they were not getting enough information from the institute. I think now they're complaining there's too much information, but I think that's a good problem to have. We have nice websites, and of course the challenge is to get people to visit the websites. You know, having a nice website is only the beginning, but to get them there is the hard part, and we are working on strategies to do that. For the last 3 years, we have been publishing an annual giving report that highlights contributions made by our alumni and what has been done with these contributions. The latest edition of the annual giving report is available for pickup outside. We have also made videos. We were actually playing one just now. We have made 2 videos that highlight alumni contributions to campus. First one was called Alumni Matter, the second was called Alumni Matter 2. And similarly, the IIT Madras Alumni Association has produced 2 videos highlighting the work that our alumni are doing to serve society outside the campus. We also try to post video messages from the director periodically on YouTube. Most recently, July 4th, there was a recorded message from the director which was put on YouTube. And by the way, I should thank Kannan Krishnamurthy here, who has been responsible for filming and uploading these videos on YouTube. He was also responsible for directing that film that we just saw. So with the support of Kannan and his team, I think we really are able to do an outstanding job in terms of producing very timely and relevant videos and uploading them so that everyone around the world can see these videos and appreciate what's going on. The database is always a critical activity, and here again we are cooperating with the Alumni Association, both in India as well as in the US, to make sure that we have a consolidated database that is as good as it can be. Fundraising, as I mentioned, is a key activity. In IIT Madras, we continue to do it on an all-volunteer basis. The only person that is full-time working in fundraising is Suresh. I'm sure all of you know. But he's not an active fundraiser. He doesn't go out and try to raise money. So we are actually now contemplating the formation of development offices, fully staffed, professionally staffed offices that can do fundraising. And we are now in the process of developing business plans for starting a development office in the US and one in India. As we will see later on, we are doing pretty well for an all-volunteer effort. But the upside of it, we don't really know. So that's basically what the business plan and the market study are trying to do. How much more can we raise if we did do this effort professionally? Based on our findings, we will then make a decision on whether a business office is warranted or not, a development office is warranted or not. Recognition is important. I think all of us like to be recognized for our good deeds. And so we are making efforts to make sure that when you do something good for the alma mater also does something in return to make you feel good. So we have in our SAC building, if any of you visited the building yesterday during convocation, you might have seen this. If you didn't, please take a walk and take a look. We have something called a donor wall of fame, where we have listed all of our major donors. So anyone who has ever given more than 5 lakhs has their name inscribed on plaques at this wall of fame. We also on our website feature the star donor of the month, the person who has contributed the largest amount. Return gifts are being offered. Of course, these are of nominal value. They're not of extreme monetary value, but they do kindle nostalgia. So we try to give gifts that remind you of your alma mater. The reunions are actually our largest source of funds, and the Silver Union is now being set, or they're actually setting themselves a target of 5 crores. And many of them are quite successful in getting close to that target. I think soon we will start actually reaching that target. And also the other reunions, the Pearl, the Coral, the Ruby, are all setting some targets for fundraising. And I think this has really made a huge difference. I think our major contributors from a financial viewpoint, I would say, are the various batches that get together and celebrate and give back at the same time. GEMS is a program that we started 3 years ago. It's for recurring donors. So if you want to give a small amount on a regular basis, give every month, which is the expansion for GEM, is an opportunity for you to do so. So you can sign up to this program. Actually later, Gautam, who's the alumnus who's spearheading GEMS, will come and talk to you about it in more detail. The graduates are actually now being tapped to give back to the alma mater. We had a pledge program for the last couple of years where we asked graduates to pledge an amount and then give that amount whenever they are able to. We have also now started a Leave Your Imprint program where we actually ask the students to waive their caution deposit, which is a fairly easy thing for them to do. For one thing, it's not their money, it's their parents' money. And that can actually add up to quite a bit. And we are asking each graduating batch to identify a project of their liking and donate their caution deposit to that project. So this is the first year where we are starting that. And again, we'll hear later today about how successful that campaign has been. So just to give you the status on fundraising, for the first time in 2011, we raised 10 crores. In 2012, we exceeded that by another couple of crores, and we did 12 crores. Looking at the current scenario, one of the key changes that we're seeing is we are now promoting the endowment mode of giving, where the money is put into a large endowment and the annual returns are being provided to the institute on a discretionary basis. This gives us a lot of flexibility in terms of determining where the priorities are for funding and directing the funds appropriately. And I think over the years, sufficient trust has developed between our givers and the institute for this endowment model to become viable. And student support is receiving special attention. I will show you a slide later on why this is important, but there's just an exponential growth in the number of students, both undergraduate as well as graduate students, who are going all over the world and doing all kinds of neat stuff, which is fantastic, but funding is required to fuel this type of student mobility. And in fact, increasingly, we are also funding faculty for similar purposes. I will talk about that also later. So this is just showing the statistics of how things are going. The growth story has been fantastic since 2009. 2013, I think we are off to a slightly slow start, but I think we'll make up for it. By the end of the year, I'm sure that we are going to be about 12 crores. We have some fairly large donations that will be coming in towards the latter part of the year. The number of donors, this again to me is a key statistic. How many people are getting involved in the giving process? And here again, we saw a good growth story from 2009 onwards. 2012 saw a slight dip because we know the reasons behind it, but it happened. But this year, actually, I think we're going to have already halfway through the year, we have had as many people, new people, becoming donors as all of last year. So I think by the end of the year, we easily expect to set a new standard, a new record for a number of people that got involved in the giving process. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. The travel grants especially are just growing at an exponential rate. We used to disperse these travel grants at the rate of 5 to 6 to 7 lakhs a year till about 2009. And since then, you can see that the numbers are just taking off. I mean, both the number of students as well as the amount that we are giving out to students. So previously, we only used to fund PhD and MS scholars to attend and present papers at research conferences. Today, we are funding that, plus we are funding all of our BTechs, MTechs, MSc, MA, all students for the same purpose. And also, we are funding students now for attending competitions, workshops, even internships. We try to provide them partial support. And most recently, in order to promote our international collaborations, we have started funding research scholars who go abroad to spend some time in a collaborator's research laboratory. And even more recently, we have started funding faculty who go abroad for the same purpose, where we want a team of faculty to go from here and stay and spend a week with their colleagues at foreign universities, and over this week have extensive discussions which can result in collaborative activities. So we have already funded a group of faculty to spend a week at Purdue. We are funding another group to go to Penn State. We are funding a group of faculty to go to California and have a thematic workshop around big data. We are also funding a group of faculty to attend a Pan-IIT meeting in Houston, as well as engage in some research collaborations with faculty in the Texas area. So the opportunity for giving, to me, or the need for receiving is greatest when it comes to particularly travel support for our faculty and our students. So I mentioned the batch contributions. I think this is an impressive story, and it's a growth story. And you can see that the amount that has been given by the individual Silver Union batches has really been growing over the years. And now that is what we really count on. And next, the 87 batch will come and give us their story of how they're doing in their fundraising. All I can say is they've done a fantastic job, both in terms of amount raised as well as the percentage of their alumni who they got to contribute to the pot. So if you look at partnering with IIT Madras in general, what are the opportunities? There are certainly several non-monetary opportunities. The work giving to IIT Madras does not necessarily have to be financial in nature. There are so many other ways you can do that. You can get involved in academic and research initiatives. You can help with our corporate initiatives and with our innovation and entrepreneurship initiatives. So you can support the student community. You can become mentors. We have an online mentoring program through the Alumni Association that you can join in, or you can do the mentoring more informally. You can give lectures to students and interact with the students through our leadership lecture series. Campus immersion. If you actually want to come and stay for a while on campus, a few weeks, a few months, and work with our faculty on students on something that interests you, we may be able to make that happen. Summer internships. Students are always looking for good internship opportunities. As you know, our intake of students has increased substantially over the last few years, but the number of internship opportunities has remained the same. So there is a huge gap to be filled, and anyone that can offer interesting internship opportunities to our students, we would really welcome that. Placement, of course. Again, as we take in more students, the placement scenario can vary quite a bit. Placement for undergraduates may be very different in terms of statistics compared to the postgraduates. In particular, our MSc students, our PhD and MS students sometimes find it difficult to get good placement opportunities. Here again, our alumni can play a key role in understanding the special strengths of these students compared to our undergraduates and making sure that they get appropriate placement opportunities. Every department has been asked to form an advisory committee, and there may be good opportunities for alumni to serve on these advisory committees. In fact, now there is a government requirement that every department must be externally audited, and then the institute as a whole will undergo an external audit within the next few months. So here there may be some very good opportunities for alumni who have continued to stay in their core areas, obviously, to become involved in these department advisory committees and give them good directions. We have many opportunities for adjunct faculty positions, visiting faculty positions. So if you have something in your mind that you really want to share with the students in terms of teaching, or if there are some pieces of research that you want to carry out in an academic atmosphere as intense as IIT Madras, again, contact us and we'll try to find you a right opportunity to do so. Our teaching quality is constantly under review. We now have a teaching learning center where we are trying to help our faculty improve their teaching methods and philosophies, and here again there may be a role that you can play. Monetary contributions, of course, are always welcome. The one thing that can be sure of is, given our history, we know how to take your contributions and make sure that they go where they are supposed to go. We'll make sure that they are properly deployed and that you are completely kept informed about the status of the project that you funded. Suresh does a great job along with our office of in North America to make sure that we keep our donors fully informed about what's being done. So giving is a habit, really. I mean, what we find is that once you give once, it becomes much easier to give the next time. I think it's like blood donation or something like that. The first time is always the hardest. So if you have never given before, you'll really enjoy it. Try it. If you have given before, I'm sure you know how enjoyable it is. So I expect that you will want to keep giving. But in either case, indulge. This is one habit that you can indulge. But one thing you should do is visit the campus as frequently as you can, because that's when you get inspired, I think, to do more. Again, both monetarily and non-monetarily. We find that good things happen when alumni visit the campus. You know, it's not just nostalgia based. It's very clear when you visit the campus that there are really some great things happening on campus. It's not a static campus. It has developed wonderfully, but at the same time without sacrificing its basic character. And it is something that's plain for all to see when you actually visit the campus. So do take every opportunity and do convince all of your batchmates and those you know to visit the campus whenever they can. To me, any alumnus who lives outside the city, when they visit Chennai, they should at least think about visiting IIT Madras. You know, that's a kind of connectivity that we need to establish between the alumni and the institute. Again, to re-emphasize, where do we have the greatest needs? Travel grant, I mentioned. Research, there are several interesting cross-discipline projects such as the IIT Madras Satellite Project, which I'll be happy to share much more information on, where there are good opportunities for alumni to contribute financially and otherwise. Innovation and entrepreneurship. Ashwin Mahalingam will be here to talk about that in more detail later in the program. Again, this is an area which is really growing rapidly at IIT Madras. We have recently formed an incubation cell headed by Professor Ashok Junjunwala, which is going to be coordinating all innovation and entrepreneurship activities on campus. And we again welcome all of our alumni entrepreneurs, especially to get connected to this incubation cell and see how you can contribute. And finally, sustainability. Obviously, that's a key focus for every academic institution and research laboratory around the world now. You have to figure out how to survive the next 100 years. So there are a lot of initiatives on campus along the lines of exploring sustainability options, and we invite you to get involved in these efforts as well. So what's new? Again, I won't steal this 87 batch thunder, but broad-based contributions. When batches give, it's not always the best thing for one or two big donors to give 80% of the funds. The effort should be to get as many people involved, because even a small amount that you give gives you that connection with the institute, which can translate it into something much more significant in future. We find that there is a tendency for alumni now to set up external trusts essentially and then feed the annual returns back to IIT, which is certainly a very feasible option. It gives the donor actually a little more control over how their funds are invested, and some may want to do it much more aggressively than IIT Madras might or our Alumni Charitable Trust might. So these options are certainly available to people. And finally, corporate funding. This is one thing that we haven't really tapped in the past. Of course, we have excellent relations with the corporates, but mostly in terms of research support through the industrial consultancy and sponsored research organization. But now we want to really explore opportunities where, for example, the CSR programs of industry can be tapped into to provide essentially financial support for socially relevant programs at IIT Madras. So this is one area where we think that there's a lot of traction to be gained. So finally, if you want to partner with IIT Madras, there's no limit to the variety of opportunities that are available. Come and see us, and we'll make sure that whatever your interest is, that we find the right people and the right places to make that happen. We are ready for all modes of engagement. So everything is on. You have an idea, come and talk to us, and most of the time we'll find a way to make it happen. So let us know how you can help us and how we can help you. In all this talk about giving back to the Institute, I'm sure there are many ways in which we can still give back to you after you have become alumni. So do let us know where we can be of help to you, and we'll be happy to do so. Thank you.